Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dietrich, and today we are test driving a 2025 Mercedes Benz CLA 250. And I'm going to kind of do this test drive in two different sections because to me, this really is the tale of two cars. I'm going to start off just driving around town, basically at very low speeds, because in my opinion, this car is very unrefined during this kind of duty. Specifically the powertrain. This car has a 2-liter turbo engine with a mild hybrid system and a dual clutch sequential manual transmission. It looks like a regular automatic. You just put your foot on the brake, put it in D and go. But the engine is very grumbly. I've never really been impressed with Mercedes 2-liter turbo engine, and this car doesn't break that trend. The mild hybrid system really only seems to, it's only noticeable, I should say, at low speeds. Like, for example, it just cut the throttle when I was still doing 3 miles an hour slowing down for this stoplight. The auto start stop system in this car is very noticeable. I need to make a left. The transmission shifts very smoothly once you're underway, but sometimes slowing down, it can be kind of jerky at very low speeds when you're decelerating. And just overall, this is a very lightly optioned CLA 250. The most expensive option that's on it is actually the paint color. This is the Hyper Blue, which is like a $1,750 option just for the color. And so this car is an MSRP of about $48,000, and it really does not feel like $48,000 when you drive it around town. I mean, I drove a 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid that's would have been $20,000 less expensive than this car, and it felt more refined around town. And it probably has more passenger space. So obviously, people buy CLA Mercedes for more emotional reasons. It's currently the least expensive way to get into a new Mercedes Benz. But I don't know that I would recommend one to my family or friends. However, when you get it out on the highway, it is a different story. So here we are out on the highway, and this is where this car really shines. All of its sins around town go away. All of a sudden, the engine feels lively, the ride is smooth, the acceleration is good. It's very surprising, kind of the dual personality, how in stop and go low speeds this car feels so hapless, but on the highway it feels so competent. I mean, I guess you could say that's that German Autobahn breeding, but I'm pretty sure that they have city streets in Germany too. This is just where somehow Mercedes engineers compromised and, yeah, Hans, we can make the car good sometimes, but not all the time for 48,000 US dollar. Where should we make it good? On the freeway. Yeah, the freeway should be better. The Autobahn. Because it's amazing. Driving it here, it's great. I guess if you're going to do 90% of your driving on the freeway, on the Autobahn, yeah, then you should maybe consider one of these if it's within your budget and suits your needs in every other kind of way. But if you're mainly going to be driving around town, for me, I would hate it. I would hate having to drive this thing around town every day, because it's just so herky-jerky and grumbly and stumbly and just feels unhappy. That's what it is. It feels unhappy when you're in town, and it feels happy when you're out on the highway. And, you know, I'm doing 78 miles an hour. I'm at 1,800 RPM. Like, this thing is, it's chomping at the bit. It's ready to go. It's a very interesting car in that way. The only other car that I can really think of that I've driven that would be like that would be like certain generations of M3. The newest ones, not so much. They have gotten more refined. But when you're driving them around town like the older M3s, the engine just feels so angry. It just wants to go. And, but it's still somehow smoother than this car. Unless it's one of the E46s with a DCT single clutch, then it's hopeless. But yeah, this car definitely wants to be let off its leash. And even here, you know, when you slow down on the highway and give it a little gas and somebody in a Mazda's not merging with any kind of confidence or authority, and you got to kind of let your foot off the gas and let them in, even though that's not your responsibility, but you're being a polite driver. Here it's happy. When it's already doing, you know, 60, it can drop down to 50. If you're doing 12 and try to drop down to 4, then it's like, stupid life. I don't want to go this slow. I'm a CLA 250. I want to run free. And the engine even sounds better out here. At low speeds, the Mercedes 2-liter turbo, every direct injection turbocharged engine, you can hear, well, any direct injection engine, not just turbocharged, you can hear the injectors click, 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 opening and closing. That's, with pretty much any new car, if you go start it, pop the hood and listen to it, you're gonna hear click, 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 click. It's like, what is wrong with this thing? Nothing, that's just the fuel injectors for the direct fuel injection. I find it to be particularly pronounced on the 4-cylinder Mercedes engines. Even more so than the 4-cylinder BMW turbo engines. They both kind of sound like diesels, but the Mercedes are worse. And, but at higher speeds, it's fine. It sounds kind of sporty. It reminds me a lot of driving a GTI, a Volkswagen GTI at higher speeds. And in some ways, it might even actually be better than driving a Volkswagen GTI at higher speeds. Gotta love this. It's 1:16 in the afternoon and traffic is already building up on the 91, baby. What ridiculousness. Whatever. That's pretty much all I have to say about driving this thing anyway. Not good in town, very good on the highway. Probably not worth $48,000. is my conclusion. I will do a full review of this car and put a link to that in the description if you'd like to check that out. And if you want to tell me I'm wrong and this is the best car ever made because you bought one, feel free to do that in the comments. And with all that being said, enjoy the rest of your day and always drive safely. Bye-bye.